The Mekong River Massacre, the fall of Naw Kham. On a quiet morning in October 2011, the waters of the Mekong River carried a secret so dark it shocked the entire world. Two Chinese cargo ships drifted silently, but what investigators later discovered on board would ignite an international manhunt. 13 Chinese sailors bound, blindfolded, and brutally executed. The massacre would become known as the Mekong River Massacre, and behind it all stood one man, Naw Kham. The Mekong River is no ordinary river. Stretching across 6 nations, it is a lifeline of trade, culture, and survival. But in the Golden Triangle region, where Thailand, Laos, and Myanmar meet, the river flows through one of the most dangerous corridors in the world. For decades, the Golden Triangle has been synonymous with drug trafficking, armed militias, and ruthless crime syndicates. And in the shadows of this region, Naw Kham had built his empire. Charismatic yet merciless, he controlled villages, demanded protection money, and orchestrated kidnappings. He thrived in the chaos, always one step ahead of the law. To the locals, he was both feared and respected, but to law enforcement, he was a ghost who had haunted the Mekong for years. On October 5, 2011, two Chinese cargo vessels, the Huiping and the Yu Crossing 8, were making their way down the river. They carried everyday goods, but they also carried something else, the hope of sailors simply earning a living for their families. Suddenly, their journey was cut short. Armed men stormed the ships, taking control with military precision. Hours later, the river revealed the horror. 13 bodies surfaced, all Chinese sailors, their hands tied, their eyes covered, riddled with bullets. But the discovery did not end there. On the ships, investigators found more than 900,000 methamphetamine pills. It seemed clear, at first glance, the sailors must have been traffickers. But Chinese authorities refused to believe their countrymen were guilty. The truth, as it unraveled, was even more sinister. Naw Kham's gang had planted the drugs to frame the sailors. After slaughtering them in cold blood, the massacre ignited outrage in China. Families wept for justice, and the government demanded answers. For the first time in history, 4 nations, China, Thailand, Laos, and Myanmar, launched a joint investigation across borders. The manhunt for Naw Kham had begun. Tracking him was no easy task. He moved through dense jungles, used local militias for protection, and relied on loyal fighters who would kill without hesitation. But the net was tightening. Chinese intelligence, working with Lao authorities, finally traced his movements deep inside Laos. In April 2012, the operation was executed. Surrounded and out of options, Naw Kham was captured. The ghost of the Mekong had been caught at last. When he was flown to China, his fate was sealed before he even stepped off the plane. In court, the evidence was overwhelming. Witnesses described the orders he gave. Investigators presented proof of the drugs planted on the ships. Naw Kham, once untouchable, was now a man facing the weight of justice. The trial was broadcast across China, a rare move meant to show transparency and resolve. For the families of the murdered sailors, it was painful but necessary. Naw Kham showed little remorse, but he could no longer hide behind his empire. In November 2012, the court delivered its verdict, death. On March 1, 2013, Naw Kham and 3 of his closest accomplices were executed. The Mekong River Massacre had finally reached its brutal conclusion. China declared the case a victory against cross-border crime. And for many, it was proof that no criminal, no matter how powerful,